Hello everyone. So today we are going to start with the new chapter of science, chapter number 4, which is named as heat. Okay, so let us start. Heat is a form of energy. Okay, so we already know that energy is capable of doing work. So if heat is a form of energy, then it might also be capable of doing some work. So let us see this: is heat capable of doing some work or not by an activity? So let us perform an activity. So over here you can see that in this vessel I have kept some water, and it has kept been on stove or gas, and it is heated up. Okay, and because of heating, it's the water inside it starts boiling, and as the water starts boiling, the steam starts rising up, or the water vapor starts rising up. And now the water vapor are rising up. You can see the water vapor coming out or the steam coming out from wherever it gets the space. And now see what happens. Yes, it is getting the lead, it is pushing the lead upwards, right? So this is what is the work done. Okay, so this is what the work is done by the energy of steam, right? So we can say that heat gives energy to steam to lift the weight of the lid, right? And because of that energy, the lid is lifted up, which we saw in the last video. Because of the heat, because of the energy which is provided by the heat, the lid of the that vessel started lifting up. In the same way, this pressure cooker, it happens, right? This the because of the heat, the things in the pressure cooker starts cooking up, and the steam starts rising up, and the steam pushes the vessel up, because that is the space from where the steam can come out, and because of which we can hear the whistles from the pressure cooker, right? Yes, so one more activity. Let us do one more activity. Here in this, we have taken three jars. One of the jar has cold or chilled water. The other jar has normal water or a normal tap water, and the last jar has the hot water. Okay. Now in this, if I tell you to put your hands, put your one hand in the jar with the cold water and other hand in the jar with the hot water. Are you going to feel any difference? Yes, obviously there will be a difference in the temperature of these jars, right? The temperature of the jar which has the chilled water and the temperature of your hand would be very much different, and because of which you can feel it cold. Same thing happens with the hot one. You can feel the hot water, right? And when you keep your hand in the water which was normal water or tap water, you will feel no difference, because the temperature of both these, the water which was from the tap and your hand, were at the same temperature, right? So by this activity we can conclude that difference in temperature is there uh, is there in these all three jars, right? Example, that ice cube is colder than our hand, and a mug of coffee is hotter than our hand, right? So this is what in this we got this term, that is temperature. Okay, this shows the difference in temperature. Now let us see what exactly temperature is. So temperature means the measure of warmth or coldness of an object or a substance with reference to some standard value. Okay, so anything which is very much warm or cold, we can sense it. Okay, that is called as temperature, and it is measured by a device which is called as thermometer, which nowadays or in our daily lives, when we have fever or something, we have used this device which is called as thermometer. Now temperature is measured mainly in two scales. One is degree Celsius and the other is degree Fahrenheit. These are commonly used scales for measuring the temperature, which are available in the thermometers, right? Now let us see the types of thermometer. We basically, on the basis of uses, we have two types of thermometer. One is clinical thermometer and the other one is laboratory thermometer. Let us see one of them very quickly and in brief. So clinical thermometer, it is used to measure body temperature. As I told you, depending on their use, we have classified them into two, that is clinical thermometer and laboratory. So clinical thermometer, we use it for measuring our body temperature, right? And this is how it looks. What is the structure of the clinical thermometer? Okay, so we are going to see the structure of clinical thermometer. It has a long, narrow, uniform glass tube, right? So the glass tube is very much long. It is covered, the outer covering which is made up of glass, it is uniform, means from starting to end, that is, it is very much uniform. The size is very much same. Okay, then the next, at one of its end there is a bulb, and inside the bulb we have a substance called as mercury. Okay, now what is the function of mercury? Mercury, it senses up the heat and it keeps on rising up as and when the heat increases, and it decreases, it comes down back to its position when the temperature is decreasing. Okay, so this is the work of mercury. And also in this you can see, in the uniform glass tube there is a smaller capillary of glass in which the mercury is filled, and at one end where the bulb is, you can see at that side there is this curve which is there in the tube, right? So what this curve is for? This curve is basically called as kink, and it is made for stopping the backflow or breaking the backflow of mercury. So what will happen if the backflow of mercury is broken? So that we can read the temperature very correctly and there is no disturbance in the temperature when we are reading it after getting the temperature from the person, right? So that is the function of kink. Normal human body temperature is 37 degree Celsius. Okay, you can see the rise in temperature, that is still 37. The scale over here you can see in the thermometer from 35 to 42. Okay, so from this our body temperature can vary, but normal body temperature is 37, but it can vary to 41 or 42. When it varies, when it goes above 37, which means the doctor concludes that we are having fever or something. Okay, and normally we are from 36.5 or 36 to 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, so if we want to measure or if we want to conclude that we have fever or not, we should see the red line or red mark which is given on the thermometer. If the mercury goes above that red mark, which means we have a bit of fever, and if it is normal, that is up to the red mark, then it means that we have normal body temperature. Okay, so this was the structure of clinical thermometer. Now there are some limitations or there are some cautions which we should consider while using the clinical thermometer. Okay, so we should not use clinical thermometer for measuring the temperature of any object other than human body. Okay, so these objects which you can see down, candle or fire or boiling water, all these things, for all these things you cannot use clinical thermometer. And also we should avoid keeping the thermometer in the sun or near the flame. What will happen if we do these things? If we do these things, the thermometer is going to break. Okay, and the mercury can come out. Okay, and we should also not throw the broken thermometer directly in the garbage, because mercury is a very much harmful substance for animals as well as humans. Okay, so we should not directly expose it out. Alright, so these were the cautions which we should take consider while we are using the thermometer. So this was all about clinical thermometer and heat. In our next video, we will be seeing about laboratory thermometer and how the heat is transferred to other substances. Okay. Till then, you please take care of yourself, stay home, and stay safe.